and volume. Did you guys do this at all in 8th grade?
Yeah, I did.
We did the ponds, I think.
We did it like in
The ponds?
the ponds, that's like the X's and really all we did in 8th grade is you taught us how to solve for
We were playing chess.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know anything.
Okay. So here we go. Today, so these are, you can see on the front here, all the reference sheets, all the reference formulas really, and I just want to make sure, what shape is this? Very good, ladies and gentlemen, triangle, triangle. This? Square. This? Rectangle. This one? Circle. This one? Parallelogram. This one? Trapezoid. Okay, so we have these area formulas. What does P stand for? Perimeter. What does C stand for? Circumference. Very good. So these are, these 6 that I just pointed out are called plane figures. And they're plane because they're on a plane. They are 2-dimensional, just flat, okay, just on paper, okay, flat figures. And that's what we're learning today, learning to use anyway. So trapezoid and parallelogram. And what is really important that you need to understand with these formulas is the H and the B. B stands for base and H stands for height. But you need to understand a base does not mean it's always on the bottom, okay? Base and height are defined as perpendicular measurements. They are perpendicular to each other, and how do we know they're perpendicular? There's a right angle, okay? They are perpendicular, and that is the definition. I can turn this upside down. There's still my base and my height. Why? Because they're perpendicular. I can turn it sideways. It's still a base and a height because they're perpendicular to each other. So the important thing is that a base and a height are perpendicular to each other. I don't use this formula. I don't use length times width. I use base times height because it's the same thing. I just always use base times height. Even for a square, it's still base times height. That's all it is, base times height. Here in the parallelogram, you have the height, and you have a base. I can use either base. I could use the height, and I could use the base on top, or I could use the base on bottom, either one. But the reason I'm picking those two is because they are perpendicular to each other, okay? And trapezoid is complicated. A trapezoid, if you'll remember, has 2 parallel bases, all right? And those 2 parallel lines are the base 1 and the base 2. So it's important to identify, hey, which lines are parallel? Because those are my base 1 and my base 2. And then, of course, the height is perpendicular to both of those things, okay? There you go. So here we have all of the formulas we're going to be working with today, and it's your job just to know how to use them, okay? If you were in 5th grade or 6th grade, we would figure out how these formulas come to be, but I'm not going to spend the time to tell you and show you those now. All right, so we're on 11.1. We want to be able to determine area and perimeter of plane figures, I think. I didn't write that there? No. Okay. All right. So again, we have some formulas here. 1/2 base times height. Again, I don't like length times width. Whatever you want to do, though, it's fine. You can always also just use base times height. Base times height is the same for a parallelogram. I can talk about why that is. When we talk about area, this shape is interesting, but if I cut off this dotted line right here, take my scissors and cut along the dotted line. And then I can take this triangle and I could slide it over here. And I would fill it in, and it would fill in this sort of vacancy, if you sort of see what I'm doing there. Could you imagine cutting it and sliding it over? And what shape did we create? A rectangle. So that's why the formulas match. They're both base times height, because this we could transform into a rectangle pretty easily. This formula for a trapezoid, you can also transform into a rectangle pretty easily. The difference is the bases. Base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. What it's doing is it's averaging the lengths of those bases, okay? And so it's taking the average of the bases times the height. The reason that is because you can imagine if I were to cut off this little leg here, this little triangle section here, I could flip it upside down and then maybe slide it over and it might fill it in. But I could do a bunch of reworking. What happens, though, my base 2 is not as long as it was before, because I took it and flipped it and moved it up here. So it got a little bit shorter and the other one got a little bit longer. So it's kind of like averaging out the bases. So that does come just from, it's base times height, but it's the average of the bases. So that's the base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. So that's why that comes to be that way. But we don't care. We're just going to use the formulas. Please read directions. This is the most important part. We want to be able to find the area of each plane figure. What shape is this?
Square.
Square. So that is the area of a square is side squared. And what's our side? 8.5. So we're going to square it. And that's all you have to do. 8.5 times 8.5 is 72.25. What are the units on that? Feet squared. So right here, this is 8.5 feet. So the units are still on it, and then we're squaring it. And so it's feet times feet. And what is feet times feet? Feet squared. Okay? So those units, you can actually put them in the formula, and then you'll know exactly what the units are. And I talk about that a lot. It really saves your butt if you get to calculus, and makes a big difference. All right, what shape is number 2? Triangle. What's the formula for a triangle?
So 1/2 base times height.
Good. 1/2 base times height. All right. And what's special about a base and a height? They're always perpendicular. So we have a base and a height right there. Those are the two things that are perpendicular. Does it matter which is which? It really doesn't matter. So this is 15 meters times 21.3 meters. And again, you can put that into your calculator. How do you put the 1/2 into your calculator? Just 1/2, or you can just divide by 2, yeah. So just so you know, there are lots of ways. You could just do 1 divided by 2 times 15 times 21.3. So we get 159.75. What are the units? Meters squared, meters squared. Again, meters times meters is meters squared. Let's see. You could also do the 15 times 21.3 and divide it by 2, and you get the same answer. So lots of ways to do that. Number 3. What shape is that? Parallelogram. All right, and the area of a parallelogram is base times height again. So we've got the things that are perpendicular, and we're going to multiply them. All right, so 7.1 times 12.9. 7.1 times 12.9, I'll do it that way. And we get 91.59 inches squared. We've done circles. What shape is number 5? Trapezoid. Oh, I wonder. let's go back to 4 for a second. 26 is a measure of diameter. What's the radius? 13, okay. And what's the formula for area? Pi r squared. Pi r squared. And I don't know if we want exact answers or decimal answers in Delta Math. I can't remember. But if we want exact answers, then all I'm going to do is multiply my numbers. What is 13 squared? 169 times pi is a lovely exact answer. And if we want a decimal, if I want a decimal, then 169 times pi would be 530.929 yards squared. But keep that in mind. If they want to answer in terms of pi, then this is the answer in terms of pi, because it's got a pi in it. So it's got a term with a pi in it. All right. Number 5 is a trapezoid. So that's the complicated formula. The complicated formula being 1/2 times height times the sum of the bases, base 1 plus base 2. So how do we recognize? There's a whole lot of numbers on this picture. What are the bases? And how do you know those are the bases? Okay, so you're seeing the perpendicular. I was thinking they're parallel. So those are the two bases. And then they do have, you're right, something perpendicular to them, and that's going to be our height for us. All right, so those are our 3 things we want to pay attention to. This is 1/2. Our height is 16 centimeters, and then base 1 plus base 2. Does it matter if I do which one first? No, right? It's not gonna, we don't care. 19 plus 27 is the same as 27 plus 19. Now, how can you plug this in wrong? By not using parentheses. You'll get it wrong every time. So the parentheses are telling us we need to add the bases first. But if you use parentheses in your calculator, just like we have written it, it will be correct. But if you leave off the parentheses on 19 plus 27, it will be incorrect. Okay, so don't be lazy. All right, no lazy math there. So we get 368 centimeters squared. Number 7, what shape is that? Triangle. Don't be confused by the dotted lines. They are simply measurements for you. This is an obtuse triangle. The solid lines are the shape. It is an obtuse triangle. So what is the formula for a triangle? 1/2 base times height. And so again, we have to understand what is a base and a height. How do we recognize them? They have to be perpendicular. So what values are perpendicular? Yeah, 14 and the 29.5 are the perpendicular values. So those represent the height and the base, and that's really important that you can see that. 37.2 is a totally slanty line. We want things that are perpendicular. So 14 times 29.5, and that one is 206.5 inches squared. Number 8, what's your base and height? Those are your base and your height there. Number 9, what shape is that? Half a circle. We want the area of half a circle, okay? It's half a circle. So, what do we suppose we need to do to figure that out? Yeah. So we know that our formula for area of a circle is pi r squared. So you could figure out the whole circle and then cut it in half, divide by 2, or I can just say I just want half of that formula. Okay, and so that is simply 1/2 times pi times 17 squared. I'm not going to answer that. What's this shape? Trapezoid. Trapezoid is 1/2 times height times base 1 plus base 2. And what are our two bases? 7 and 13 are base 1 and base 2. And then what's our height? Yeah. So just so you have an idea, again, heights and bases aren't necessarily on the bottom or standing tall. Doesn't matter. Okay. Questions so far? It's really easy, right? Okay. Turn to the page. Ooh. Oh, I like these. These are better thinking problems. How do we find the area of number 11? Well, the area is 1/2 base times height because it's a triangle. Pythagorean theorem, you're right. The height is right here, and here is our base. We didn't have a height listed. They gave us a slanty line. That's no good for us, so we need to do the Pythagorean theorem. 7 squared plus the height squared equals 18.2 squared. So let's see, 49 plus our height squared equals 18.2 squared. Nope, that's not 18.2 squared. All right, that is 331.24. And then what do I need to do? Minus 49. Subtract 49, so I get height squared equals 282.24. And then what? Square root, yeah. Square root my answer, and I get a height of 16.8. So we had to use Pythagorean theorem. That's really good. And then we can plug in our numbers. 1/2, our base of 7, and our height of 16.8. And that would be 58.8 feet squared. Okay, and then I also want to do a couple of these, like number 13. Use the area formulas to find each measure. So we have a triangle with an area of 45.5 centimeters squared, has a base that measures 14 centimeters. Find the height of the triangle. Well, I know we're talking about a triangle, and I know we've got area. What formula should I write down? 1/2 base times height. And what information do I know? So I can plug in my 45.5, and I also know the base measures 14, and they want me to find the height, and that's the only letter I have left, so we can use it to solve. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up because I can take half of 14. What is half of 14? 7. So I get 7 times height, and then how do I get height by itself? Divide by 7, yeah. 45.7 divided by 7 is, divide by 7, we get height is like 6.5-ish centimeters. 6.5?
No. 45.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. What did I say?
You wrote 7 instead of 0.5.
Oh, 45.5. 45.5 divided by 7 is still 6.5. There we go. All right. Thank you, guys. Good catch. Gotcha. All right. I want to do, the hardest one is 16. So let's look at 16. It says, find the length of the second base of a trapezoid with one base measuring 12 feet, a height of 4 feet, and an area of 58 square feet. What shape are we talking about? Trapezoid. So what formula am I going to write down? Good. So I know the formula, and now we're going to plug in the information we know. I know that the area is 58. So I'm plugging in the 58 for area, and I know that the height is 4 feet. And I know that one of the bases is 12, and we're supposed to find the second base. You'll notice that I dropped the subscript 2, B sub 2. You don't need it. It's just B. We're just finding B. All right. What should we do? So, you could distribute. Can I just clean these two up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do that. So 58, I'm just taking half of 4. Half of 4 is 2, and we still have the times 12 plus B. All right. Then what do you want to do?
Just distribute the 2.
Okay, you can distribute the 2. Is there another option? You could divide by 2. But we can distribute, that's also fine. So 58 equals 2 times 12 is 24, and 2 times B is 2B. And so then what do we need to do? Subtract 24. Whoa, 58 minus 24. Oh my God. No, wow. Look at what I just typed. 58 minus 242. 258 minus 24. 58 minus 242. 58 minus 24. All right. 34 equals 2B. And then divide by 2. I think the keys are sticky. That's more what I'm feeling. So that other base is 17. And let's see. I think that's all I need to do today, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have questions for me? No. All right. Super. Keep those formulas handy.